Hello and welcome to the job description module, which is part of the Level Up Your Career series brought to you by careerspacega.com. And right now we are going to look at the job description. So we're going to look at the job description, crush it up, pull it apart, make it make sense. So whether we see a job description posted online at career blah 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 blah.com or Caribbean blah 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 blah.com, or we get it by WhatsApp from one of our friends, or we see it posted in the newspaper, whether it's the Jamaica blah 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 or the other one. This is what we want to look for when we're seeing these job descriptions, right? So I want us to be able to be learned scholars, that we can look at it and know what we're looking for. Okay, so how to read a job description. We're going to talk about the type of company. So what do I mean by the type of company? Well, these are the questions you want to ask. What is the industry that this company is in right now? What is happening in the industry right now? Meaning we're currently in a pandemic at the time of this recording. Is this industry being affected? Is that company being affected by this pandemic? Are they selling off portions of the company? Are they selling divisions of the company? Are they open to acquiring new technologies? Are they going through any sort of transformation? Are they a dinosaur that knows they're a dinosaur and they're willing to be creative and open to being creative? Or are they a dinosaur that they're intent on being a dinosaur, staying as a dinosaur, going to sleep as a dinosaur, and not innovating or adding any kind of disruptive technology to their space? So that is a type of company. What else do we look for in the company? What is the actual structure or format of the company? Are they a mom and pop shop, meaning are they a family style company? We have a couple of them in Jamaica, like say Cinco, etc. Are they an international company, and the arm that is here in Jamaica is just a piece of a huge pie that we're seeing? Are they a piece of a more international company, meaning that their headquarters or their interests lie outside of Jamaica? Like Digicel? Are they a company that is focused on innovation, and they're dynamic and fast-paced, fast-moving? That would be places like a Sagicor, or I mentioned before a Digicel. Or are they uh, a company that is based or focused around one person, meaning that if that person were to be tired and doesn't really want to come to work today, does the business stop for that day? Is it that the only clients will only talk to one person of that company? And what else are we looking for? Where are they located? Are they located in the town center proper, or are they located in a more rural area? What is it like to leave that company at 4 p.m.? What is it like to get to that company at 9 a.m.? You want to know how deep we can go with what type of company this is? We can look at down to the parking spaces, meaning, is it a place that you have to go and fight for parking? As a woman, would you feel comfortable? I know, yes, this applies to men too. Yes, 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 yes. As a woman, if your parking were in a parking lot that is, say, 2 buildings away from the building, are you okay walking to that parking lot by yourself, or does the company provide security for you to do so? And another big thing about type of company is who runs it. Meaning, is it same thing? Is it, say, a one person shop? Is it a CEO, or does the CEO have to report to a board of directors? Is it a government entity, meaning that they're dependent on a change of government or who is in power at the time, meaning that the positions in it are appointed depending on the government? These are things to look at a type of company. And huge big one is culture. What is the company culture? What is the company culture towards age? Meaning, is it a company that prizes the innovation and energy of the younger folk, or is it a company that feels that the older you get, close to retirement, that your 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 wisdom and experience is completely dwindles in value? Is it a company that is an old boys club, meaning that it's all men at the top, even if they have maybe a lot of flyers, or they, you see a lot of advertising around diversity, or we promote our women and we have this and that. What is it really? The best way to find that out is, of course, maybe what people say on social media, what you might see published about that company in the news, and of course your peers, people who work there. Whether it is a casual conversation, maybe over drinks or so, maybe by a WhatsApp, you can find out about the inside of a company if you know the questions to ask. Is it a company where, and I know that this now, I also want us to think, be to just be mindful that a company culture does not necessarily translate to the culture of the department that you are looking to work in. It does not necessarily translate to the division with where you're looking to work. It does not necessarily translate to the team that with which you might work, right? So you have an overall company culture, and then you might have little subcultures, department by department, team by team, division by division, floor by floor. So you're just getting a read on the company culture just for yourself, to kind of give you give you a little more of the sense in which to operate when it comes to, say, the interviews, etc., and to see if it is a complete fit, right? So the type of company does matter, so that in the first day you don't go in and you feel totally burnt out, right? Is it a company where it's an open office plan, or is a company with all sorts of little cubicles? Is it a company where most of the upper management sits on one floor, like say if it's 9 floors, they're on the 9th floor? Or is it a company where the upper management sits with their team, so you can almost walk onto a floor and not know who the manager is, right? Is that company how they dress? Does everybody dress alike? Do they all wear the same uniform? Is the uniform to distinguish rank or floor or division? Is it a company where, maybe say the women have to wear skirt suits and you have to wear stockings, and not the fashionable stockings, but the pharmacy stockings, if you know what I'm saying? What is the vibe of that company when you just pass, or if you were to walk past the gate on a fairly okay time, like at 10, 11 o'clock? What is the snapshot you would get of the inside? So all of that is type of company. If you're a tech person, so I know I'm kind of skipping, but the technology used by the company does matter. For a tech person, they would look a little deeper than, is it a desktop kind of shop, or is it a Mac type of shop? What are the systems that they use? Is it that they use Microsoft or some other? Do they use Microsoft Exchange, or they use some other, say, email? I have an MBA, then I must say final level ACCA qualified, and 3 years experience in the middle management, finance, and accounting position, right? And it can say or, so it's kind of flexible in terms of qualification. It says or a first degree in accounting and business administration, management studies, or pursuing the final level ACCA qualification and 8 years experience in middle management, finance, and accounting position, right? So the trade-off is a higher degree for less actual work experience, or if you have a first level degree, then you must have longer experience in middle management. Maybe the trade-off is that because the time you spend in school, that time you could have been spending in school for an MBA, you'd have still been working full time. So maybe that's the trade-off here. I don't know. And here now, knowledge, skills, and abilities. So we already know some of these are for sure, right? These are givens. Sound knowledge of financial and management accounting systems, policies and procedures. It is a policies and procedures position. It is a compliance position. It is a regulatory position, because we see that it's so much reporting involved, right? And also working between a lot of departments and collecting the data. Be familiar with international accounting standards and best practices. What did I say? This might be IFRS, so this might be a company that is either international itself or international facing. Okay, have an understanding and knowledge of relevant information technology and systems. Have a working knowledge of the financial sector. So this seems to be in the financial sector. This could be, say, a bank or a similar financial company. I don't think a straight bank though. I could be wrong. Have a working knowledge of the local and overseas investment markets. Could this be a brokerage? Have general management experience and skills. Okay. Some knowledge of Microsoft Dynamics. You already know, because the folks did tell you what the system is. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Vision. Okay. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, that is just in terms of displaying data. So because it's a lot of reporting, you want to be able to display data to those that are not necessarily familiar with your reporting systems. So when you go in meetings and you have to present to people who really kind of don't really care to know the nitty-gritty of how you got to. They just want to see the data in a visual way, in a nice, pretty, colorful, simple graph chart, pretty preschool colors. Like, if they want to see that, then you're able to show them, right? PowerPoint, Outlook is clearly for email, so it's just an emailing system. Outlook does not have that many features that should scare you. If you don't know Outlook, it's not something that's hard to pick up. And Vision is a system. It's like how you have Microsoft 10 or Windows 10, etc. It's a system. So if you know basic Microsoft or Microsoft systems, this should be no problem to you. If you just grew up on Mac and you know nothing at all but Mac, you just have to spend a little ramp up time on that. Okay, results and solutions oriented, excellent interpersonal skills. Didn't I say you need interpersonal skills for this? Not necessarily just to vibe with a boss or a higher up or the director, but you have to know how to manage everyone. So you have to manage your peers, you have to manage up, and you have to manage those who are on your team. And you also have to advocate for your team. How could I forget that? You also have to advocate for your team where they are not able to articulate or they might have a need. You have to be able to articulate your team's needs. Okay? So in order to know that, you have to actually listen to them. Okay, logical and analytical approach to investigation, identification, analysis, and reporting. That goes without saying. And then it says qualified applicants are invited to submit their resumes in confidence, including the names and addresses of 3 referees. Names and addresses of 3 referees. So, wow, they want a lot up front. So they want resumes. Notice that they're not asking for cover letters. We'll get into that. That's another module. So they just really want from you, they want your resume and they want your 3 referees, which means that the names of your 3 referees do matter here, meaning rank and title matter here, of the 3 referees that you're gonna put in. And I think because this kind of job is, even if it's a middle manager, it does have a lot of responsibility. Okay, and now they're telling you up front, I appreciate your interest, meaning send in your stuff. However, only if you're shortlisted will they contact you. So if, say, a couple months have passed and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe X and X have not contacted me, the people told you here, if they have not contacted you, that means you weren't shortlisted at this time. But you definitely need to know your 3 referees, and I'm gonna jump into that when we do the background checks module. I'm gonna talk about that in terms of your references and background checks. Yeah, so hopefully this was helpful. That's why thankfully it's recorded, so if I was going too fast over a part, you can and pause me and pause me and pause me, and then to see if it can make a little more sense, right? So you need to be able to pull apart the job description, you need to see what is the actual title, right? It says finance and accounting, right? And finance, meaning when you see finance, you more think like reporting, right? You think reporting. When you see accounting, you think receivables and payables, okay? And then because it's finance already with reporting, you know that leads to compliance and standards and policies and procedures. So it's a lot of documentation and a lot of things that you have to make sense of the business. So it is, and of course the information that you're doing here, it feeds into the annual budget and the corporate planning exercise. So this is and treasury management, assist with treasury management. So you kind of have to be on your P's and Q's here. And you have to be somewhat of a, I won't say a role model like a statue, but you have to be someone who your team respects and looks up to, because it's a leadership position. So even though it's a manager position, it's not just a do this, do that. It is, you need your team to be invested in what they're doing so that it won't cause any friction or errors or making anybody's life harder. Okay, core functions, they told you here, super clear, and qualifications and experience, it again told you here, super clear as to what they would look at. And then, so all in all, we understand and the knowledge and we know how to contact this company and where to send it to. So stick around for other upcoming modules. We talk about LinkedIn, we talk about the interview process, we talk about the cover letter, amongst other things. And keep clicking. Hello and welcome to my channel, and I will be speaking about the interview process, the job search process, anything having to do with all of the above. I will speak from my own personal experiences and the experiences of folks I know. If you have any questions, or if I didn't go in depth with something, or you want a little more clarity, there is no shame in asking. Just send me a little comment below and I will address it, of course. Thank you for stopping by, and just keep scrolling and going through additional materials, okay? And pay it forward. Anything that you pick up here, pay it forward, okay? So have a blessed day. Take care. Bye.